Selena the series is back on Netflix. This is about the tragic life story of Selena Quintanilla, the queen of Tejano music and an iconic Mexican-American pop star. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Justin. I love to watch movies. I also love to watch Netflix. If you guys do too, you guys are in the right spot. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below and click that notification for more up and coming content. I was looking forward to Selena the series part 2. I wanted to dive a little more deep into her career, her choices as she furthered her career, and see if there was any struggle between her and making an American pop album. We get a lot with that in part 2 of this series, and there is 9 episodes, and it covers a lot. It covers her winning a Grammy, her filming a live album, and it does introduce Yolanda Saldivar, who was the person that killed Selena before her 24th birthday. Some of my problems with biopics, and I had a problem with the first series as well, is that it's not enough. There is just a lot going on within the series. I always feel like it's at this quick pace to where you can never really feel connected to Selena. She is a very likable person. We see that within the series. We see the struggle she has between her and her boyfriend Chris, and eventually who becomes her husband, and his relationship with the family, and her winning a Grammy, and people demanding American pop albums, and all of that going on. This is potential to really understand Selena. Also, as she wants to open up this boutique, she wants to kind of do her own thing, which is good potential to really understand this character and really write her as a way that is easily where you can easily relate with this character and connect with her. But it moves at such a quick pace, and they introduce so much over a span of few years that it's hard to kind of just slow down, take a breath, realize what is going on in Selena's life, and really connect with that. They kind of just introduce it and then move on to the next scene, and then introduce that, and then go on to the next big event in her life. I feel like they took a list of big things that happened in her life, did this, check this off, and never really expanded and really dived deep into those scenes, because she did a lot in her short life and she tried to do things on her own. She experienced different relationships. While they do show that there's no emotional connection to that, you're really not understanding Selena as a character and watching her grow because of the quick things they're just introducing throughout. I was expecting that they would introduce Yolanda in this series, and when they do introduce her pretty fairly early on in the series, she immediately is portrayed as the bad guy, which she is. What she did was absolutely horrible to Selena. And within this series, she's in it briefly, especially for a good majority of the series, and when she's there, the series feels like it has to paint her as this bad person, but she's not doing anything right away at first to kind of earn that. She's just saying, you know, I'm Yolanda and I'm here to help you, kind of thing. And the show has like this eerie score behind her, and then people look at her odd and like question things that she says, which eventually does happen in real life. They tried to warn Selena about Yolanda, but the time that Yolanda was in the series, they immediately took it as a chance to paint her as a villain, which, yes, she is. Don't get me wrong on that part. But there's so many, but her scenes are few and far between that if you didn't know what had happened, you would question, why are they doing it this way? Guess what I'm saying is a little more of her to kind of build up to that, instead of just a scene in the 4th episode, a scene in the 5th episode, and a little bit in the 6th episode, and it's very eerie. Shots of her to kind of portray her as that villain, that score to kind of match that as well. Like I said, if you didn't know who Yolanda was and how she plays into the story, you would be confused as why they went that route with this character. It's absolutely horrible what happened to Selena, and Yolanda definitely did deserve her sentence. They should have had her a little more in the series, and you would have felt the impact of that character. Christian Sorrentos is once again great as Selena. She's working with what is given to her within the series. She is trying her hardest to make certain moments where she's struggling to, come to terms with who she is, or trying to discover who she is as well. Like I said, those scenes are very brief, so those emotional moments from Sorrentos are very brief as well. But she definitely does deliver really good performances, makes her character very likable, and you understand why she was so popular. If you haven't listened to Selena's music or knew who she was, you could easily tell why she was so big and so likable and everybody loved her just by watching this performance. And it's very bubbly, light-hearted performance from Sorrentos. There's a bigger task for Sorrentos this time around as she's trying to further her relationship with Chris, getting married and winning that Grammy and recording that live audience, and struggling what she wants to do further in her career. Does she want to do kind of things on her own? Does she want to expand into the American pop culture, or does she want to continue with her family band? So she has all these things that she's trying to juggle. I think Sorrentos does it fairly well, but like I said, that script and the way that the series is structured, it requires it to move fast, and so Sorrentos kind of has to keep up with that, and it's not really giving us those emotional moments towards the character. Overall, Selena, the series was enjoyable to watch. If you didn't know much about Selena, kind of like myself, it was interesting to learn about her and her life, since a lot of her family members are serving as producers with the series. The music is great to hear throughout. There's a lot of moments where they have these concerts and it's kind of filmed like it's almost like a music video. I kind of like that. It gives it that authentic 90s look, which was the time period that Selena was really popular. My biggest problem with this second part is that it just tries to do a little too much, and they really could have expanded on certain key moments within Selena's life to really give it that emotional punch to the series. And then introducing Yolanda pretty early on in the series, and any brief time that they could get with her, they painted her as the villain, which she is. It was odd to see it that way, but since it was few and far between, kind of picked up towards the end with Yolanda and Selena's series, and it definitely became something hard to watch towards the end. And that kind of just goes back to they need to expand on certain moments. I'm gonna go ahead and give Selena the series part 2 a B-. Thank you guys for checking my review for Selena the series part 2. Have you guys seen it on Netflix? What do you think about it? Let me know in the comment section down below. My name is Just Watches Movies, and you guys stay classy, YouTube.